Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoilery gush for Furyborn by Claire Legrand. As I said, this video will have spoilers in it, so if you haven't read this book, go ahead and check out my spoiler-free review, which you linked on the screen. So I didn't really go into this with any expectations. I've had some friends that have read it and really enjoyed it, but I have been hearing a ton about it plot-wise, so I just kind of went in and didn't really know what to expect. So with the world, I was not expecting angels and elemental magic, and I was like, this is interesting. And I'm always skeptical with angels, as I think many people are, because it's like, oh, angels, but I really liked this like dark twisted angel thing going on in here. I also like hearing about like the marks and the crawlers and some of these things that I don't think were quite as fleshed out. Like, we barely talked about marks and we barely talked about the crawlers and stuff, but that's obviously going to get fleshed out more. So that all of the like creatures and stuff going on in this trilogy, I am very interested in. And especially like in the wraiths and the wraiths being angels, all of that, that's cool. I like that. I also really love that elemental magic was tied to all the saints. Like that, I just eat that shit up. It felt like almost sort of, not quite though, like Elder Scrolls-y, you know, with like some of the like saints and stuff like that kind of feel. And just, yeah, elemental magic tied to religion. It gets me. And especially when there was like shadow magic and I was like, oh, I would be going to that temple. And like, it was just, I enjoy stuff like that. It always just speaks to me on some kind of level. And I also just really like the sinister tone that this had. Like, this just felt darker and grittier than a lot of fantasy stories. It wasn't like it had like a hidden underbelly of that. It just was like, from the get-go, it was dark. And I really enjoyed that. This feels like this new sort of like YA grimdark feel to me that isn't quite as like grimdark gory as some of the authors that have done adult grimdark and then done some YA stuff. Like, this feels like its own thing, and I really like this kind of like niche that Claire Legrand has sort of built for herself, because I feel like Winterspell had a similar flavor to it. So as far as characters, I preferred Rielle, even though we see her future and everything from like the first chapter, and that she's the Blood Queen and that she does all these bad things and blah blah blah. I want to know more about that, but I just enjoyed her character more overall because I found her more consistent. I found her personality more consistent, where Eliana, I feel like there's parts of her that felt a little bit tropey to me and that I just didn't like as much. Like, I don't like these characters, these like female characters who are, you know, like bounty hunters or thieves or whatever, and they're like, I have to be tough. Conceal, don't feel. And like all of that kind of stuff, it feels very like Delilah Bard and Vin, who are two of my like least favorite characters that are part of this trope. So whenever I see it, I'm like, no. So I didn't really like that. And then she kind of flipped a switch very easily, and then all of a sudden she was like, I want to be a hero, and I don't know. I don't like it. It just didn't really feel as consistent. I started to root for her a bit more in the second half of the story, and I kind of liked both their POVs, but for a while there, for like the first half, I was like, I really just want to see what Raelle's doing. Like, she's the one I care about most. But regardless, I really enjoyed both of their anger, their sort of like unlikability, and that they kind of make rash emotional decisions. I feel like these are characters that some people aren't gonna like at all, and I sort of love that about them. I just like that they're both angry. I mean, there's like even the line in the very first chapter where someone's talking about like Raelle's death, and they think that she like, everyone's like, oh, she went out scared, and he's like, I think she went out mad. And I'm like, that's, I enjoy that. I enjoy that kind of character. Some of the characters I didn't enjoy were some of the male characters, so I don't care whatsoever about Harkin. Like, he feels so boring to me. When he was gonna die, I'm like, great, he's probably not dead, because of course he's not. But like, I don't care about him at all. And then I like parts of Simon's character, but he also feels inconsistent, which is why I think I don't like Eliana's POV as much, because he's like, we know, I'll get to this, but we know that he's from the past or whatever, and he's all like, I'm dark and twisty, and then like he'll like touch her face and like, but not in like a seductive way, in like a soft jelly roll way. And I'm like, can you pick, like, especially at the end when he's like, I will do anything for you, and I'm like, can you pick which one you're gonna do? Like, I don't understand. And he's like, yeah, you know, get mad, and I guess trying to get her to like reveal her magic maybe, but he just flipped back and forth a lot, and I was like, I don't like how inconsistent you are. Pick one or the other. And I have like mixed feelings about him being so like drawn to her when so he transported her when he was a little bit older than her and she was like an infant. And it just felt, not quite this bad, but it just sort of tinged the like Renesmee Jacob relationship a little bit. Not quite that bad, but that's sort of how it felt. And also she like apparently looks just like her mom, but her mom was obviously way older than him. So like it just feels like weird. Like I just feel weird about it. And I don't want to feel weird about it because I kind of want to like it, but like I just don't, it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable right now. So we'll see how that plays out throughout the rest of the series. I do like Audric though. He's nice and he kind of stays nice and consistent and isn't like all over the place. He's not my typical male character that I enjoy in that he's just kind of like a cinnamon bun and, you know, he's gonna die. She's gonna like rip his heart out. Great. But I did really like one thing about the dynamics between the male and female characters in here. One, I like that like the women are, I think both of them imply that they're bisexual. I'm pretty sure. I know at least Eliana does. I'm not sure if Rael did or not. I'm forgetting. That's cool. But also there's a lot of stuff about like consent and female sexuality and empowerment around that, and like the birth control piece with Rael and all of that I thought was done really well. I mentioned in my review that I feel like Claire Legrand in Winterspell, her first book, or the first book that I read from her, she like overdid some of the sexuality stuff. And here I feel like it was pretty well done. And I liked that there's a lot of like communication between partners and, you know, like safety and consent and all that stuff. Like that was well done. Good job. So I also really like the villain dynamic, Corrine, whatever his name is. I love that dynamic with him and Rael especially, and all of that, like he's in her head, this like bond, but you know it's like bad and like seductive, but like, and he's tricking her and all that stuff. Like I really enjoy that. And this kind of like, he wants to team up with her. You see from some of these like flashbacks or flash forwards, however you want to look at it, that she like ends up with him. Sort of like, I want to know how all these things happen, and I'm very intrigued by all of it. As far as side characters, I also really liked Zara and Ludivine. I wasn't expecting Lou to be an angel at all. Like, what? So that was really cool. But I like both of those characters, and I'm almost like, is Lou Zara? You know? Like, is she? Maybe? I don't know. I almost felt like they had a similar personality, and some of those things were being revealed around the same time with their characters. So I was like, are you? Because you got out around the same time as Corin did, and so are you? Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe not, but I could see that happening. I did want more from Rael and her like father relationship. I felt like that was a little like skimmed over. Like I wanted a little more payoff from that. I wanted there to be a little more focus on that. There's so much going on that there probably couldn't be a lot of focus on that. I felt like some of the family dynamics, aside from Eliana and Remy's like sibling bond, I feel like the parent stuff, like Eliana and her mother, or like, you know, basically adoptive mother, and like Rael and her dad, I feel like some of that was just a little glossed over. I just wanted a little more depth with that. I do think the whole like sort of twist of Eliana being revealed as like the baby that escaped at the beginning, it's like, well, duh. And I don't know if we're like supposed to know, but it's sort of treated as a reveal, and I'm like, of course Simon is the Simon. Like, I went back because I was like, is Simon, when it was revealed that his name was Simon, I was like, I'm pretty sure the kid's name was Simon. So it was like, of course that's who it is. Like, of course. So I felt like that reveal was a little like, why'd that take so long? Why weren't we as the audience kind of let in on that a little bit more than she was, or at least it hinted about a little earlier on? I just don't like when books are like, we're doing this twist thing and the characters aren't going to find out until later, but like, you know, as the reader already, and you're like, why is it taking so long? So I feel like that needs to be done a little bit differently with books, and they don't do it well a lot of times, like especially when it's like a twist. It's like, yeah, we know that she's the daughter. Of course she is. So that was a little like meh. I am wondering, since we get this like, you know, the first chapter being Rael like dying or whatever, I do wonder if there's going to be something with this whole series, because you don't want to go through the whole series knowing that one of the main characters is like gonna die or that she's gonna go bad. So I wonder with all this time stuff, if they're gonna be able to go back in time and like prevent this from happening kind of thing, because two queens are rising and to save the world. So I wonder if they're gonna have to like team up together in this like mother-daughter bond thing. It's kind of what I'm hoping. I don't know, but I'm thinking that might be what happens, because I'm gonna be devastated if we follow them through the whole series and then like Rael still does the same thing as she still dies, because I like her the most. I'm gonna be really upset. But yeah, overall I really love this story. Like I said in my review, I was gonna give it a slightly lower rating because there's some of these things that aren't quite fleshed out, blah blah blah, but overall, like then like the male characters aren't that good and I don't really like, but I still really like it and I'm still thinking about it and I'm still like, you know, I put it down and I'm done, and I still, like, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I can't wait to read about it, and I was like, wait, no, I'm done. I'm done with that for now. So I really enjoyed this, which is why it's a solid 4 out of 5 stars for me, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series. I think it's gonna be really good, super dark. I'm gonna really enjoy it. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of Furyborn. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all you guys soon. Bye.